Hi there. Well, as you can see, I just wanted to give you a bit of a count on the Noni products again, and in terms of what we're doing. First of all, some interesting statistics with regards to what Noni appears to be doing for me at this stage. When I was first checked with my glucose level for diabetes in end of 2016, my glucose count was 7.6, which isn't dramatically high. It is in that area of where it doesn't want to go any higher. In fact, it is already diabetes 2 at sort of when it gets into the seven number. But my recent blood, and I've had several blood checks since that time. I've had one every 6 months. So the one I had 2 months ago, just before Christmas, if you recall, I just picked up on the results, and it's dropped all the way down to 6 point exactly. It was 6.5 6 months ago, and it's now dropped down to 6. Now, whether I can attribute it all to this good stuff is difficult at this stage, obviously, because I obviously have been taking measures as well. I've been doing a lot of exercise, as you know, as well. But there is no doubt about it, as far as dealing with the ailments and the aches in the joints and the just general wellness of the body, I can honestly say that I feel a lot better than I did, say, 12 months ago, or even slightly longer than that. And I have no doubt that it's been this product, Fijian Noni, that has certainly given me the boost. People are still asking me what is Noni, and I've been sending videos out, so they obviously don't they obviously don't look at my videos, including my sister. So I thought I'd just give more emphasis on Noni, and this is a video. It's in two parts that I want to show you now. It was made quite a few years ago, so pardon the quality of this particular video, but it goes into quite a lot of detail in terms of Noni. Have a look at this.
We're back, everyone, talking about the amazing wonders of Noni. Now, on this segment, Richard, let's go into that Noni science. I can't wait to share some of these new stories with everyone.
The first entry in Western scientific writings was taken from Captain Cook's log of his voyages in the Pacific. Captain Cook discovered the Sandwich Isles. That's what they called them before we called them Hawaii. And he noted how the locals, the natives, used this Noni plant, and it made his daily log book. Okay, so that's the first entry. As we progress through the ages into the 1950s and 70s, scientists began showing interest in Noni, and most of the early research was done that showed Noni is effective as an antibiotic and antiviral and antifungal, effective against staph, salmonella, E. coli, H. pylori, yeast, fungi, even TB. So that's the early stuff, all right? Anti-parasitic, and there's still quite a bit of research going on with Noni in farm animals as an anti-worm measure. Put Noni pulp into the feed of farm animals, and they have much lower rates of intestinal parasites, which is very important, okay? The American Chemical Society did a study that showed Noni juice is as effective as rifampicin for tuberculosis. Now, TB is notorious for being difficult to treat. No one drug treats tuberculosis. You need 2, 3, 4, 5 drugs for a year, 2 years. To rid yourself of tuberculosis. And they found that Noni is as effective as a rifampicin, killing 89% of all the tuberculosis germs that they experimented with. That's amazing, folks. TB is really a problem, and Noni can help with that. There's been quite a bit of cancer research, Dr. Hirozumi at the University of Hawaii has spent over 35 years studying noni and cancer. And he found that laboratory animals live 75% longer if given noni when they have cancer. 75% longer. He also found that chemotherapy works better in these animals if they're given noni with the chemotherapy. Okay? Now that's an animal study, but it is significant. Dr. Wang at the University of Illinois found noni is helpful in laboratory animals who have leukemia, helps them fight their disease better. Dr. Hiromatsu studied over 500 tropical plants looking for cancer cures. Of all of the plants he studied, 500, this is a life work, he said noni is the best of all of them. This is the cures in the rainforest concept, folks. Noni is helpful for cancer. Let's see. Dr. Hiwasa found that noni helps to treat ultraviolet-induced skin cancer, sun damage on the skin. And they have studies now, DNA studies, that show the fragments of DNA, that's what the sun does to the skin cell DNA, fragments it, and that leads to cancer. That can be reversed, actually reversed with noni juice. Apply it directly on the skin. It helps with sun damage. Dr. Hornick, Louisiana State University, showed noni juice inhibits the growth of new blood vessels into tumor cells. See, tumors can't grow unless they have their own blood supply because they're growing. They can't just, they get to a certain size and there has to be an artery coming in and a vein coming out. And he found that it stopped the process of making a new artery to that tumor in breast cancer. Now, no one's saying that noni juice is a standalone treatment approved for cancer therapy. We're not saying that. What we've learned is noni is good nutritional support for the cancer patient. And studies at the University of Hawaii showed in terminal cancer, where there is no treatment available, nothing's going to work, this is what will take your life, this scenario. They did a study of some 400 terminal cancer patients, and they found that if they took noni, their quality of life improved. They had less pain. They were in a better situation, and that is a true, tremendous benefit. That's our cancer research. Now, perhaps what people take noni more for pain than any other reason. Noni is called the painkiller tree in the Caribbean. And noni does grow all along the tropical zone, all around the equatorial plane around the earth. The plant cannot stand to freeze, so it's a tropical plant. Okay? And it's one of the first trees to grow on the volcanic soil. And I remember when we went to look at the volcano on the Big Island of Hawaii, on that new, fresh earth, the lava flows coming right down to the sea, there would be nothing growing except one noni tree. One little scrubby noni tree growing up. That's notorious. That's classic for noni. Wherever there is new land being formed, that noni tree comes up. It just loves the volcanic soil. Okay? So what we find with pain is, Dr. Llanos from University of Metz in France found that noni is about 70 to 75% as effective as morphine for pain. But there's no narcotic in it, there's no stimulant, nothing to become dependent on, but it's that effective for pain. And those studies have been repeated with different methods and confirmed. Dr. Wang confirmed the analgesic effects at the University of Illinois. Dr. Wang also found noni to be a COX-1 and 2 inhibitor. That means it works like aspirin, but without the irritating of the stomach. And that's a huge benefit because many of us can't take the ibuprofen, the aspirin. It's just too hard on the stomach, or they're compromised kidneys or liver, and they just can't do it. Well, no problems like that with noni. But the real magic, as it were, of noni is noni blocks pain in the central nervous system, and it's an anti-inflammatory. So you get a synergy of pain relief that is virtually unheard of in the natural world. Noni relieves pain, okay? And it relieves pain equal to tramadol, or Ultram, is a brand name, which is a Schedule 3, no, it's a Schedule 4 controlled substance, and noni works as good as that does, but without a prescription, without any narcotic or any dependency-forming substance.
That is just amazing, Richard.
It is, and just last night I was having some physical pain, and it was getting late into the night, and I said, well, boy, I don't want to take any medicine. I have to be on TV tomorrow. So I went down to the kitchen, and I took a big glass of noni juice, and you know what? Within 10 minutes of lying down, I was asleep again, and off I went. I can't tell you how many times I've done that over the last 10 years. Noni is really helpful with pain. Does it help you with pain?
It is just amazing, Richard.
Yeah, have you noticed that?
Yes, it's fantastic for your joints.
Yes.
Anybody who's suffering from any type of arthritis pain, that type of, osteoarthritis kind of thing, I think it's just fantastic.
It is. It's tremendous. We have 3 or 4 studies now that show Noni lowers blood pressure, and it does it by inhibiting the angiotensin-converting enzyme. It's an ACE inhibitor, but without the problems of the medicines.
Well, and the question that someone's going to have right away, Richard, is, but what if I don't have, was it going to make it go too low if I don't have blood pressure issues?
That's the beauty of the naturals. It will not lower it lower than normal.
Good.
It will not cause hypotension. Let's see, Marinda Laboratories found that Noni juice is a better antioxidant than vitamin C or grapeseed extract. And you know how good of antioxidants those are. Noni is packed full of antioxidants. Noni shows remarkably strong activity against the development of cholesterol plaques in arteries. This is from Kobe Kakun University in Japan. We have several studies now that show it lowers the cholesterol, and it's particularly effective in smokers. 20% reduction of cholesterol in smokers, and it raises the HDL in smokers by 20%. That's University of Illinois study. Another University of Illinois study, this was not cancer patients, that's the University of Hawaii study. The Illinois study was 3 months, people taking Noni juice. After 3 months, they found that it improved the quality of life of those who took the Noni juice. Isn't that really the bottom line of all this supplementation and trying to improve our health, is that our quality of life improves?
Right.
They found that better ability to physically function, then get up and move around better, diminished body pain, increased vitality, improved mental health, and a slight but statistically significant improvement of hearing. We can't explain that one yet, but it's Noni. It does all kinds of great things. We have hepatoprotective effects of Noni. University of Illinois found that Noni protects from liver damage. This is toxicology studies. And Noni passed with flying colors. Anti-yeast, the unique thing about Noni and yeast is it keeps the yeast from budding and proliferating. See, just a spore of yeast is not so much of a problem because it's not growing. When yeast grows, it releases toxins. Okay? And Noni inhibits the proliferation of the yeast. That's a big deal for the intestinal dysbiosis and chronic yeast scenarios. A diet and weight loss aid, the Chinese Journal of Physiology found that Noni releases cholecystokinin. When you drink Noni, it sends a hormone message to the brain that you're satisfied. So it's a great little diet aid. Take an ounce of Noni about an hour before the meal, and I promise you, you'll find you'll eat a little less, and it'll help you with your weight loss goals. A lot of people do that. See, all these things that we were wondering, how could one thing do all this when Noni hit North America 10, 15 years ago? All these things that the grandiose claims, as it were, these are all being proven as true. It's just amazing to me. How about collagen formation? It increases the formation of collagen. That's exactly why we put it in the skincare preparations, to help improve the collagen. Let's see, let's do this. Oh, let's introduce this properly. We have a break coming up, but in the last 3 years, we have had almost 100 new studies on Noni. 100 new studies on Noni. It's just amazing. And we want to get you up to date on those studies when we return.
Well, while they've gone off for their break and have a cup of tea, I'll show you part 2 just now. But what I'd basically like to do is just tell you a little bit in terms of what we'll be doing with Noni here in the UK. We are putting it through certain distribution networks, yes. Businesses that specialise in the health products and health and wellness products. And I'll be announcing those as we sign them up. But we'll also be putting together a website where people can buy the product online. There is already one set up in Australia, and you can purchase it on that website as well, but it is quite pricey the way they've structured the pricing structure for it there. So we are going to be looking at a more realistic price for our market here in the UK. So that'll be something I'll be putting together in the course of the next 6 weeks. So look out for that. I want people to do their own, if you like, research on Noni as well. Don't just take my word for it, but actually, have a look at the internet, learn a little bit about the product, the plant, what it's been doing for many hundreds of years, and actually, see if you think this is something worth trying. Like I said before, it's not an ideal product as far as taste goes or flavour, but it definitely does have an effect on your system and make you feel a lot better than you would do otherwise. And I suppose a bit like a tonic, you could describe it like in some respects, but much more powerful than that. Anyway, let's get over to part.
We're back, everyone, talking about the amazing wonders of Noni. Now, Richard, you have some new research to share with everyone.
Yes. When we started with Noni, there were about 15 or so research articles at the NIH. Now there's well over 200. It's most impressive. Let's start with Noni and diabetes. One of the putative uses, reputation, cultural uses of Noni is to help with diabetes. Well, they found that Noni with insulin, if you're insulin-dependent diabetic, if you take Noni with the insulin, it lowers the blood glucose better than either one alone. It creates a synergy. It helps dampen insulin resistance. It makes insulin more efficient. It's helpful with diabetes, okay? It also helps to protect laboratory animals, of course, from the fatty infiltration of the liver that occurs with diabetes. This is a big thing, folks. This is tremendous. Noni and ischemic brain damage. Mice pretreated with Noni had smaller areas of brain damage after an induced stroke, okay? Now, you may say, I've never had a stroke. It's not in my family history. I'm not really worried about stroke. Well, everyone, as we age, get tiny little strokes. They're so small you can't really see them with the naked eye, but they add up, and it ends with cortical atrophy, what doctors call the brain shrinks, and it shrinks because of these tiny little strokes. So even if you've never had a stroke, even if you're never at risk for it, you'll have less damage from the inevitable effects of aging from little tiny microemboli that end up in the brain, okay? Noni and gout. Noni lowers the production of uric acid in test tube studies. They're working on this in humans to see if it does, and I'm sure it will be. Well, but we have to prove that, no doubt. Pain. Noni relieves pain equal to Ultram. That's part of the new ones. And it relieves inflammation equal to hydrocortisone. That's a steroid. Calms inflammation as good as a steroid. I know many of you are on the prednisone and whatnot for autoimmune disease, asthma, this type of thing, and you're looking for ways to get off of it. Taper off slowly. That's critical with steroids. But start day one with the Noni so you have that anti-inflammatory effect. Noni in smokers. Noni juice reduces the evidence of cancer changes in heavy smokers. The early signs of cancer, that's a good thing. Noni alone and with doxorubicin are effective against breast cancer cells in test tube studies. Okay, very important for cancers. Noni and skin cancer, unique compounds in Noni are effective in inhibiting the growth of melanoma cancer cells. Okay, test tube studies again. Also, Noni is remarkably effective in reducing early signs of cancer in animals given carcinogens. There's all these chemicals in our environment, persistent organic compounds, as they're generally called, that nature does not degrade. They're man-made for the most part, right? And these things are adding up to one of the reasons why we have more cancer than ever. The world's a polluted place. And what that study found was if you take your daily Noni, you're going to have less cellular evidence of that damage going on in your body. And there are other natural compounds that do that, but Noni is particularly good at doing that. That's amazing to me. Intestinal parasites is an effective anti-helminth, and a lot of this is for the veterinarian science, but humans get parasites too. It's very common. In fact, worldwide, over 40% of the world's population has an intestinal parasite. Those figures are lower in the United States, but if you consider yeast and dysbiosis a parasite, which I kind of do, and a lot of doctors do, there you go. Right here in America, it's effective. Noni and chronic viral infections. It inhibits the replication of HIV and hepatitis C both. That's a huge benefit. Plus, it's liver protective for the hepatitis C patients. Boy, that's a good tonic for that. Here's one that's really interesting. Noni reduces post-op nausea and vomiting. How many of you, when you go into surgery, thank God, literally thank God for anesthesia, but you wake up so sick, so nauseous and vomiting, and that's not a good thing after an operation. You can pop a stitch. It's no fun. It hurts. So they gave humans, this is a human study, they gave humans Noni juice for the week before the operation, and they found those that had the Noni had half the nausea and vomiting as the placebo group. Isn't that amazing? And they think it's from the scopoletin, the promotility, keeping the intestinal motility pushing down as opposed to coming up with vomiting, right? See, that's impressive. I remember in my cancer treatment, they gave me a nausea pill that was $40 a pill. The newest best. $40 a pill. No, you can get a whole quart of Noni. You can get 2 quarts of Noni for less than that. Isn't that amazing? Noni and stress. Noni protects the brain from stress-induced impairment and cognitive function in laboratory animals. The brain goes numb under stress, folks. It does. We've all learned that in our life experience. A little Noni juice, well, of course, animal study, of course. Noni juice helps to protect from that. Pretty remarkable. Noni and GERD. This is one of the most popular uses of Noni in helping with heartburn. It's the pro-motility agent. But this study went further. They extracted the scopoletin out of the Noni, okay? And they found that the whole Noni works better than the scopoletin alone for heartburn. So it's not just the scopoletin. There's something else in Noni that they're working to find that really helps the motility of the gut, helps with constipation, heartburn, and reflux, this type of thing. Just impressive. They're also finding novel compounds, that's what scientists call it, molecules that are found in no other plant ever found. And they're finding, I think we're up to well over a dozen, maybe 20 by now, novel, unique compounds in Noni, unprecedented compounds that we had no idea even existed. But see, the safety is there for Noni. It's been used for 2,000 years that we know of. That's an excellent safety profile. Noni and immunity. Noni stimulates both the cellular and humoral immune system. That's the acquired immune system and the immune system you're born with. That's the 2 arms of the immune system. It makes both more active and effective. Remarkable, isn't it? Stroke, we talked about that. Noni and triglycerides, we've talked about that. Total cholesterol drops. Fertility, here's a unique one which we can't explain, but I'm sure they'll find out eventually. In laboratory animals, Noni increased fertility over 3 generations with no evidence of tumor formation, and the litters of the mice got bigger, and each mouse, baby pup mouse, was bigger with Noni, and they followed him for 3 generations. Pretty amazing. We don't know how that happens, but it does. It's a fertility agent. Isn't that amazing?
As more and more people establish the effects it has, I'm sure more and more people will be talking about it. Just remember that our Fijian Noni is 100% organic Noni juice. So there is no additional juices or water or anything else in our Noni. It is 100% Noni juice. So it's, and I don't think there's any other one on the market like that. The Hawaiian ones are tended to be mixed with juices, for example. So I haven't come across another one yet that's 100% Noni, organic Noni. Yeah. Anyway, keep well. Talk to you again soon. Bye bye.